the way forward for the opposition, NASA? Well, in studio for this conversation is political analyst Professor Oeri Tumbo. Professor, good to have you in studio this afternoon.
Thank you, Michelle.
And we're seeing preparations there at the Kasarani Gymnasium underway. The military also preparing for the exercises there. So the swearing-in is still underway on Tuesday next week. What do you make of NASA's decision now, or NASA's stance that the Supreme Court decision will not affect their way forward?
Thank you, Michelle. First and foremost, personally, I'm pleased that we have at least reached that point whereby the Supreme Court has made its ruling and the president's inauguration is set for next week.
Right.
Now, quite clearly, the last 6 months in our country have not been what most of us want to write home or to talk about. A lot of what has gone on has been almost, whoever has contributed to the political discussion, there has been very little goodwill. So as a result, the political environment is severely contaminated. My wish with regard to the swearing in of the president is that it will bring down the vitriol, it will bring down the anger, it will bring down the excitement to a level that it can facilitate normal real-life activities. That's one. Two, in my opinion, the Supreme Court made a decision based on the evidence adduced before it.
Right.
All right? So, in my opinion, NASA was not even a party to that suit. It was only involved in wishful thinking that the suits before the court will be determined in a manner that they might benefit from.
Right.
All right? So right now, I think NASA is most likely looking at the current circumstances where the law allows us to play at and how they continue to operate politically.
Right.
Now, the most important aspect of all this is participation. In my opinion, what should be done by both sides is to facilitate an element of sanity so that relevant and fruitful political discussion can be undertaken.
Right, but how can we have a political discussion in this environment, considering it was a unanimous decision by the Supreme Court to uphold President Uhuru Kenyatta's victory, but we're seeing the opposition, NASA, now saying it doesn't matter, the stand of the Supreme Court, we do not recognize President Uhuru Kenyatta as a legitimate president. And this was an issue way back when the Supreme Court nullified President Uhuru Kenyatta's victory, and we saw the opposition, NASA, really speak about commitment to the rule of law and listening to the apex court, which has the final word on such judgments. The opposition is now moving away from that. How can we have a discussion in this environment?
For me, it is not a very tricky situation. What you are seeing is an element of political conviction mixed with the stubbornness. In other words, the opposition is saying, yes, we have got where we got, but we do not think we got there, all right, fairly.
Right.
All right? That's really what they are saying. And the supporters of the Jubilee are saying, as far as we are concerned, the court has spoken. But in a realistic way, Michelle, there are several small ingredients of this whole polluted political environment that need to be addressed. Now, the fact that the relevant issues raised in a previous petition, all right, were not addressed, all right, by the IBC in particular.
Right.
That left the opposition with the position that they do not deserve justice. Their position is if an institution can reject a Supreme Court directive, then clearly, right, there is no, and the Supreme Court does nothing about it. Right? That is seen as accession, all right, to political thuggery, basically. So the opposition's position is that the Supreme Court refused to punish IBC for rejecting their instructions and carried on as if that rejection did not occur. Now, to me, that is the basis for the fundamental negation of what is going on. Secondly, there are several ways in which, particularly in this last ruling, the way the case was, in my view, even if looked at from a layman, I'm a layman from the point of view of legal issues. That case, to me, was not particularly well constructed. It was based on what I call people sit somewhere, somebody raises an opinion, it sounds good, but it's not properly calculated, structured, and grounded in issues that would be arguable in law.
Court. And of course, that process is over now. The Supreme Court has already given its decision. So the swearing in is underway. But where does that leave NASA in terms of options? Because so far, we also have the High Court that has passed orders restraining county assemblies in, passing or implementing motions to form people's assemblies. And that was NASA's big clarion call, that this is a people's movement. We will have the people's assemblies to push the people's voice. The High Court has now issued a restraining order on that. NASA once again says that order is what they term as defective, and we will not agree that order. We will go ahead to form our people's assemblies. But what options does NASA have now, even as Raila Odinga gives his major announcement?
This is related to what I've just said. They are saying if the Supreme Court can't be obeyed, why should we obey the High Court or the Appeal Court? In other words, if Jubilee enjoys the benefit of defiance of the Supreme Court, not Jubilee, the IBC enjoys the benefit of defying the Supreme Court. Why should we, the rest of us, obey these other courts if the Supreme Court can be defied by an institution that is seen to be in cahoots with Jubilee? Now, secondly, what I was going to say is this. It's important at this point in time, irrespective of where Raila wants to go, it's important that the president addresses the concerns of Raila's supporters, not Raila the person, not Raila the Luo. This to me is in bad taste. The approach that anytime NASA raises an issue, all right, if one wants to be ethnic, you can say, if every time NASA raises an issue, the Jubilee Brigade begins to castigate one person, Raila, castigate one ethnic community. Clearly, you could say the Luyas are then honorary Luos, then the Maasais are honorary Luos, then the Digos are honorary Luos. Like that. This, in my view, these are the issues that should be addressed. The president, and it's my personal opinion, should address the needs of Raila's supporters. And these needs are varied. Different groups are in NASA for different reasons, and others for the same reasons with other groups. Now, these are the needs that should be addressed. Now that he's being sworn in, he's the president of all of us, all right? And I've said this in previous shows, and I remember I kept on saying this, and even the anchor kept on telling me, what about Raila? And I almost got the impression the anchor had a political interest. My position has been, once a person, whoever it is in a position of presidency, this person has what I call the inevitable position of addressing the needs even of people he doesn't like. Because those are still his subjects.
Right, and of course, we've had a lot of calls for peace from both Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta. What we haven't seen is them coming out and sitting to have this dialogue that many have been asking about. But that doesn't seem to be on the top of the agenda for the opposition, NASA. But if there was to be dialogue, if there was to be a situation where President Uhuru Kenyatta then incorporates the needs of NASA supporters in the current regime and the running of it, what issues would those be?
First and foremost, the president must order the stop to the brutalization of individuals or areas where people are perceived to be pro-NASA. The police must be contained. My view is that all these actions are not ordered by the president. They are not ordered by the government as such. Mm-hmm. There seems to be a commitment somewhere in the lower levels of national security that deal with these people brutally, irrespective of the cost. But this particular element has got a very strong, very high political cost. If people feel that they are persecuted in situations that there is no need for punishment, they are likely to become hardcore. I'll give you a very unfortunate but useful example. When this Boko Haram that is in Nigeria, when the Boko Haram was being started by the founder, he kept on preaching extremist propaganda. Mm-hmm. But instead of the government going the software way, saying, how can we, even when we have caught this guy, tell him that we have capacity to deal with you brutally, but please, can you take the soft approach to dialogue on the issues? And then they should have opened an area for dialogue. What did they do? When the man was arrested, when he was leaving the police station, he was shot dead right in front of the police station. Now, he had just told the police that I have a deputy. Now, the moment he was shot dead, the deputy called the Islamists and told them, our religion is at risk. Can you please come to our help? As a result, the interested parties poured billions of dollars into Boko Haram and made them an intractable organization. Why am I using this example? Is that there is plenty of room. You see, when you are president, there is nowhere too low to go. You are president, it can't be changed. So this is where, in my opinion, the president needs to ask his internal affairs, internal security minister to rein in his troops so that there's containment. That's issue one. Issue two, the issue about continuous discussion in public media in a disdaining and abusive manner about the leadership of NASA. Now, a lot of the leaders, some of the leaders in NASA are very, very respectable professionals and also successful politicians who have a very sound base that would form a team with the people in Jubilee and participate in running the country. Right. If you continue to belittle and insult those people, there is going to be a time you will need them to form an alliance so that you run the country together. And we will need each other all the time. All right, Professor, let me just pause you there for a moment. We'll be continuing this conversation. I was speaking to political analyst Professor Ori Tumbo on the way forward for the opposition coalition NASA in the wake of the Supreme Court's unanimous decision to uphold President Uhuru Kenyatta's victory. This conversation will continue in just a moment. We'll also be joined by lawyer and political analyst Joy Brenda Mdivo for more on this conversation. But let's take a look at more news.